Hi, everyone. It's really cool to be here. It's also really cool to see so many familiar faces. I am very excited about this tool. It's been fascinating to work with. I'll just share with you a couple of things I've been doing more in my consulting work at the moment with it. And I was using Dr. Edmondson's work and wanted to sort of show them this piece here about the chart that she uses to talk about where you are in psychological safety as related to motivation and accountability and kind of where your culture is and how the group is learning. And so the poll was exactly a replica of that table, and asking about the team providing high psychological safety to low, and then has low motivation, accountability, and high. And as you can see here, I used the piece to sort of describe where am I, where's the organization, and then, what does that all look like? And then where's the leadership team? And I was specifically talking to the leadership team. And as you can see, it was interesting. It's right where I thought they would fall, which is in that lower left quadrant. And of course, where they want to be is in that upper right. So this was the first poll that I did with them. The second one was after we talked a little bit about that, it's kind of like, where do we start? And I introduced kind of, again, Dr. Edmondson's, main components of getting into the psychological safety practice. And so then I asked the poll, and this was a relational poll of where are we when it comes to two of the key pieces, which was the vulnerability and how many questions do I ask? So where are we as, again, where you think you are? And then we asked them to rate each other. So they all received various feedback around that in the same sense. So you can kind of see how everything laid out here. And in many cases, people were not surprised how things lasted. I did not get the question, although I did set it up to say that the feedback was for them personally. What does that look like? So that was a piece that wanted to share with you, that one. And then most recently, I worked with a private medical practice, and they have a large owner group. Imagine having 13 owners that you have to work with, and they call them the board. And the management team was struggling with the board, their level of engagement, their role in the organization, and how to work better together as a team. And so basically ended up kind of doing this in person recently. The first assessment I kind of set up by talking about, again, the high performing team attributes using the Google Project Aristotle model, and then talking a little bit about levels of involvement from a board. I used a combination of tools from true boards, as well as sort of leadership level of involvement, and created sort of this model for them to look at in terms of where they're engaged or where they should be engaged. And then also the level of or the focus of work. We polled them ahead of time. And what we were learning is that people were feeling, were involved all the way down to the level of ordering Q-tips for the private practice, which isn't maybe the best way to use your your doctors, all the way to strategic, and very few in the strategic side. So we wanted to sort of talk about, well, really, where should they be and where their focus of work should be. So we introduced this, and then did a role assessment in terms of where do they believe the board is today and where they should be when it comes to the type of work they're doing. So strategic focus all the way down to day-to-day operational, and then low engagement to high engagement. And they fell right where we knew they would, which was this lower left quadrant. And this spurred some really good conversation and sort of eye openings about, I didn't know I didn't need to be involved in this lower level. And it was like, well, you hired a management team to do that. So it opened up some good conversation from that perspective. And then the other assessment had to do with trust, and breaking out the trust from a head trust, heart trust component, which was really even more eye-opening for them than I thought it would be in terms of the way the discussion went. And we polled them again on this, in terms of where you believe you are today and where the team should be. And you can see again where it fell. What was interesting is the conversation around this is the feeling that they all automatically have strong head trust because of the level of people they hire and all of that, but where they really needed to work was on the heart trust. And again, there was a lot of agreement in the end around that. And that ended up being really a great conversation and kind of led what I want to say the rest of the day in terms of challenging, because we were working on vision and strategy, challenging themselves and each other, and how would they do that. So really quickly, that was kind of it. Hopefully that helps.